This is the language that I speak with my mom and dad. I speak it with my girlfriend or my boyfriend, or I speak it with my boss, to my teacher, etc., etc., etc. The English name of this language is the Chinese language, which in my opinion is wrong. Why? Let's take a deeper look at this name, the Chinese language. The name Chinese actually implies that this language belongs to all ethnic Chinese people all around the world. Ethnic Chinese people. Me, for example, I'm from Indonesia. I'm an overseas Chinese. My ancestors came from the island of Kinmen. They spoke a dialect called Hokkien, Minanyu. My mother's grandfather, he came from Chaozhou, Teochew, and he spoke another dialect called Teochew. In fact, Teochew and Hokkien, these two dialects actually belong to the large Chinese language family. So it's wrong to call our language today Chinese. Then what's the real name of our language then? Mandarin Chinese. Mandarin Chinese has a long, long history, dates back to the Ming Dynasty. In Ming Dynasty, the officials wanted to have a name for the language that they use every day in their official works. It's called Guanhua, the official language, or maybe you can say the official speech. And the English name of it, Mandarin, came from Portuguese, which is Mandarin, and then they use it and change it into Mandarin. The language that is called Huanhua at that day is not really the same language that we speak today. For example, how do you say in Mandarin Chinese to come outside? 出来, right? 出来. But back in those days, they say 出来, 出来. Mind the ut sound that is not present in today's Mandarin Chinese. Time passes, and here comes the Qing Dynasty. In Qing Dynasty, the language name is still called Guanhua, but a lot has changed. For instance, let's take a look at how the king, the emperor, the last emperor of China, spoke. As you can hear, it's basically the same language that we speak today. It's so magical, isn't it? It's been 100 years and the language that we speak is still the same. This is the product of standardization. I'm going to talk about this later. Standardization is good, isn't it? Back in Ming Dynasty, they tried to standardize the language to make the language of the whole land to one, but they never managed to do it. But today, we could do it, thanks to education. All of us speak Mandarin Chinese. In Taiwan, in mainland China, in Hong Kong to some extent, and as for us, overseas Chinese students, some of us can speak Mandarin also. But the thing is standardization really that good? By speaking the same language, it is very good for everybody, right? It's very beneficial. Everybody speaks the same language, therefore we can communicate with each other without trying to understand other people's languages because we basically speak the same language. But by speaking the same language, we will forget our dialects. For example, before I say about dialects, I want to tell you that the dialects are very important. First, by learning the dialects, it can help you understand where your ancestors come from. For example, how do you say to open a door in Hokkien, Minanyu? Hui Meng or Hui Mui. You can say Hui Meng, you can say Hui Mui, and it's basically the same thing. My dad said Hui Meng, my mom said Hui Mui. For example, how do you say to study in Hokkien? tate or tazi or tazu. It's basically the same thing also. Secondly, by learning these dialects, it can help you understand the older Chinese language. For those of you who loves poetry, especially the classical poetry of China, understanding the dialect help you understand it more because it's easier to read it in dialects rather than in Mandarin. And it can also, to some extent, help you understand foreign languages. For example, Japan. How do you say time in Hokkien? Jigan. In Japanese, it's jigan. It's very similar. So, okay. How many of you here are Taiwanese? Please raise your hands. How many of you here speak Taiwanese every day? See? The whole generation is slowly forgetting the language. How many of you here are Taiwanese? Please raise your hands. How many of you here can speak Taiwanese fluently? When the parents don't speak Taiwanese anymore, then the children would not speak Taiwanese also. By not speaking this language, the language becomes forgotten and everyone becomes the same. We have culture. We are ethnic Chinese, and we have a culture from where we come from, and we're starting to lose it. I don't know how to preserve this language, but I tell you, in hope that one of you someday will find a way to revive our dialect. TNE.
Thanks, Bob, for sharing. And